Hello everyone, and welcome to the first episode of the VGM Toolkit. This might look a bit out of the ordinary for some longtime viewers of my channel, but don't worry, I still have plenty of remixes that I want to make. So, what is this video about? I'm a composer and sound designer for video games, but more importantly, I am a fan. I've been playing games my entire life, and have a deep understanding of what goes into game music, both in terms of composition and the implementation of unique audio systems. So, I wanted to start a series of sorts where I analyze game music that I find really interesting. Then, using those findings, I'll compose a song and audio system of my own using the techniques we discussed. If there's a particular aspect of this video that interests you, please feel free to skip around. There are timestamps in the description. So, for the first episode, I figured there was no better place for me to start than with the Persona 5 Palace themes. When you're in a palace, you're for the most part doing one of two things: exploring or battling. The music also changes based on the action that you're doing at any given moment. This concept is present in like every single game ever made. However, the way that Persona achieves this has a little bit more nuance than some others with the most basic of implementation. Very basically, this is how it works. Joker and company explore while listening to the palace theme. They find an enemy and decide to engage with it. As they jump on its back, the exploration music continues to play. When the mask is ripped off, a loud sound effect plays, drawing the player's attention away from the music. The palace theme fades out underneath the sound effect and the battle music starts. As the battle ends, there's no sound effect to mask the fade out, so it just goes away. Then, the palace theme fades back in where it left off, and the cycle continues from there. The use of sound effects to mask musical transitions is a very common technique used in many games. Without the sound effects, there would be a lot of lost momentum between the two gameplay states. Now, I would play the game myself with sound effects turned off to better demonstrate my point, but the console version doesn't have any sound effects sliders, so here's some gameplay with some text to show what I'm talking about.
Show me your true form!
Notice how the sound effects make it sound more seamless than it actually is? Again, this is a very simple system. There are plenty of other turn-based games that do this a lot smoother and with a lot more nuance, some of which I may cover in the future, but I figured the specific way that Persona does this is worth mentioning. I'm quite familiar with the Persona 5 Palace themes. As some of you may know, I spent the better part of a year putting together the Picaro collection, a cover album where I made high-energy battle arrangements of each of the main palace themes. Over that time, I listened to these songs over and over again, and here is what I found. Persona 5 has a very distinct instrumental identity, the most important of which being the electric piano and the organ. These two instruments are practically a must when making a song in the style of Persona 5. Even more important than the instruments, however, are the compositional techniques that you use. I've come up with 3 musical ideas that are central to the identity of a palace theme. This is by no means an all-inclusive list. Not every theme includes all of these ideas, but if you want to make a palace theme of your own, this is a good place to start. Idea number 1 is a short repeated melodic hook. This is basically an earworm, the thing that gets stuck in your head when you're not playing the game. Oftentimes, this is also accompanied with some sort of changing harmony underneath the hook, but not always. Here are a few examples. Those last 2 examples in particular are incredibly similar, not just because they have the aforementioned short repeated melodic hook, but because they're both using a 5/7 sus to a minor 1 progression. So, if you want to write a sad sounding palace theme, keep this progression in mind. However, there's only so much that changing harmony can do to spice up a repetitive hook. And that's where our second idea comes into play. Having a contrasting B section gives the listener a break from the feel of the hook. The synth instrument that we're listening to now plays throughout almost the entire song, but just as we're starting to get tired of it, the entire vibe of the song changes, leaving only electric piano and percussion. Now, an important distinction to make is that the most effective B sections do not include the instrument or instruments that are most present in the A section of the song. For instance, here in Sweatshop, you've been listening to this buzzy bass synth for a long time. If the entire length of the song had that synth, it would quickly become annoying. So, instead you get this. Another example is in King, Queen, and Slave. During the B section, we get a brand new synth sound, playing a more legato passage that brings us back around to the chords of the A section. And lastly, the final idea that makes a Persona Palace theme, and really Persona music in general, is an active bass line. Very, very rarely do Persona bass lines stay stagnant on the tonic of whatever chord is being played. I'm not going to show you guys every bass line, but here are some of my favorites to demonstrate my point. And there it is, our musical framework that we will use to compose. I won't be making the music system today since there aren't any adaptive elements to it, but in future episodes with games that do have them, I will. Alright, here I am at my setup. I don't have anything written yet, so I'm just going to kind of fool around until I find something that I like. I did, however, have some ideas for chords. I think I want to use the same voicings as in The Days When My Mother Is There and Freedom and Security. I think that'll be a good starting point. Alright, there it is. And by the way, I don't know how to play keyboard, like, at all. I'm already hearing the hook in here. It's always slightly annoying to work at like 10 in the morning like I am. The sun comes through the blinds a little bit. Do you guys think I just doxed myself by saying that? Like, do you think that GeoGuessr dude could be like...
USA? Somewhere within this region? Nice.
And he just guesses within like 4 square miles of where I live. Okay, let's get some drums. I think I want to add in some hand percussion. Okay, yep, there's my bass. I'm just gonna MIDI the bass in for now. I think having some strings in here would be cool. Yeah, strings are also pretty important to the Persona 5 sound. If you're wondering what these lines are right here, basically what that is that's mod wheel data. On this instrument, it's tied to the dynamics. And so basically that just adds a little bit of ebb and flow to the sound of the string library. Oh, the fact that there's no drums here just gave me like a really cool idea. I want to have it so that we start some sort of melody here, and then the drums come in on 4. A quick tip for funk stuff: if you have a 5-way selector pickup, the 4th position is very, very good for that, the single coil sound. I'm hearing like a fill into the second half of the verse. Oh, and you know what? Let's change the guitars so that that matches the hits in the drums. Ooh! Let's start figuring out this melody. Oh, what am I doing? I have to get the congos in there. Hold on. Yeah, dude, those congos do so much heavy lifting, my god. Okay, I gotta get some real bass down. So, a few things to note about the sound of the Persona 5 bass is that there are a lot of things that are hard to replicate if you want to make something of your own. One of which is the bass that you own. The bass that they have on the soundtrack is probably some sort of like J bass, and this is not that. This is like for rock and metal because that's what I typically write. The second is that they also have newer sounding strings on the soundtrack, and these are not new strings, these are very, very old. But that being said, there are a lot of things that you can control, one of which is to make sure that you play with your fingers, and the other is to make sure that you play over the bridge. The sound of the Persona 5 bass has like some bite to it, but it's not the same bite that would come from a pick, right? So notice this difference in sound. So down there just has a little bit more kick, and that's what's important for the bass sound. Oh yeah, I gotta get that run. What is it? There it is. Woo! Alright, I got something. But my guitar fingers are not used to that. Oh, man, I wish I could just play it right the first time. Learning to play your parts good is for losers. Alright, sorry, there was a guy at my door. It was that GeoGuessr guy.
Nice.
Alright, that's good enough. Yeah, I want to have the keys slide down on that last hit. Okay, so we're gonna go from the second hook to the B section, but I'm trying to think, do we let the strings kind of take it, or do we introduce something entirely new? I think I want the congos to kind of continue underneath, so let's just do that and see where that takes us. Let me get a scratch take of that. Cool. I think I want to kind of add a little bit more contrast to this B section. I think the main left and right guitars are going to be like a plucky thing. We'll still have this, but we'll have it like sitting in the background somewhere. All right. Yeah, what if I move this to a electric piano and then maybe I put an arpeggiator on it? I kind of like that. What if I put some delay on it? Oh! that is so sick. And while I have my guitar in my hands, I might as well... Oh, dude, I have 3 guitar recording tracks. When I'm like in the composing brain, my like organization goes out the window. But let's get some guitar on the hook. Alright, I took some time to organize my session here, so it looks nice. So now I could go ahead and ruin it. I just played Hades for the first time, and that was really fun. I haven't rolled credits yet, but I think I'm pretty close. That's another game that I want to take a look at that has some really cool adaptive systems, and the music is like rock, so I'm a lot more familiar with it. Oh, that would be cool. Oh, and then I really want to bring up the delay in that. I'm thinking like a boom, 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 boom. Instead of dotted eighth. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, yeah. That's like a cartoon sound effect. It has to be controlled. If I go from all the way down here, that's a cartoon. But if I go from... That'll be a cool sound. In context, of course. It still sounded like a cartoon just then. I like that, actually. Yeah. No, I don't know if I could live with that. Yeah, no, I can't take it seriously. I can't do it. It's gone. I want drums and bass to come back in here. Ooh. Yeah, what if we removed the spacey stuff? Oh, wait, that might be really epic. Yeah, I want some like clacky stuff. That is crazy. Oh my god, and we haven't even added in the shakers and the congos. Wait, before I reveal that to myself, I need to have this looping. Oh my god. Yeah, that is amazing. I'm keeping that. Oh my god. This is so epic. Yeah, I want a little crash. A splash. That's what that is called. I'm making sure this is all possible, but I certainly can't play this on drums. I have a kit right there, but I haven't figured out a nice camera angle for me to like actually play something, so that's why I'm keyboarding it in. Oh!
Nice.
Oh, this is a great section. Do I slap that? I don't know how to slap. I think I slapped that. So this is going to be really stitched together, but it's going to sound really cool because I don't know how to slap. Okay, that sounds like okay, but that is so unbelievably scuffed. I feel insulted on behalf of slap bass players everywhere. I'm so sorry. I am actually going to get that last section though. Like I'm going to record it for real, no matter how many times it takes. Okay, I have a comp in there. Okay. That's like my first time actually for real playing slap. Obviously, there's a lot to be improved. Okay, now is the time for sound effects. Okay, and then there's one trick that I love to do. So basically, I take the kick MIDI, I bring it down here to sidechain ghost, and basically what this is, it's the instrument that makes the click sound in Logic, but I have it so that it's not outputting anything. And then I can go over here to the low end of the bass, add an equalizer, which is reacting dynamically and externally to the where is it? Sidechain ghost. So now you'll see here, whenever the kick hits, it ducks the bass a little bit. It helps give the kick a little bit more space. It's a neat trick. All right, it's the next day. You could probably tell because my hair looks normal. All the sound effects have been added, and I've given it a brief mix using fresh ears. So why don't we give it a listen from the top? I love how this B section turned out. It is so groovy. I think it contrasts really well with the rest of the song. All right, well, thank you so much for joining me for the first episode of the VGM Toolkit. This video took me a while to make, so if you guys liked it, please consider liking and subscribing. I would really appreciate it. I still have plenty more games that I want to cover. Next episode, I'm going to cover something with an adaptive music system, so we can get more into the weeds of that stuff. If you guys have any games that you want me to look at, please let me know in the comments. I love learning about new game systems with cool audio stuff. All right, people, thanks for tuning in. Take care.
Sun's north, hemisphere south. We have a slight leaf, so it's like tropical. Here, like Indo.